Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm the boy who lived twice, and today we'll be talking about which Harry Potter properties we consider canon. We'll discuss the controversial creative decisions J.K. Rowling has made recently and whether we're going to accept them. Because, as we said in the first episode, one of the coolest things about this community and this fandom is that we seem to have basically decided that it's up to us, not up to the original author, what counts as part of the story. We seem to have basically claimed ownership of what is real canonical Harry Potter, and that's absolutely amazing. So let's get into it. First, of course, we have to talk about Cursed Child. I know we don't want to, but we have to. So, Cursed Child is basically the story of Albus Severus Potter going to Hogwarts after we all remember the scene from Platform 9 and 3/4, the epilogue at the end of Deathly Hallows, where he talks with Harry with his dad and he says, like, I don't want to be in Slytherin, I don't want to be in Slytherin. And Harry tells him, just tell the hat that you don't want to be in Slytherin. We know the hat accepts your wishes. We know it takes you seriously. We know it listens and considers what you want, and it won't put you in a house that you're fundamentally opposed to being in. And so what happens in Cursed Child? Albus Severus ends up in Slytherin. A Potter, a Weasley Potter child, who doesn't want to be in Slytherin, who actively resists the idea of being in Slytherin and asks to not be put in Slytherin, ends up in that house. That flies in the face of everything we know about the sorting process, everything we know about Harry's not pureblood. The Weasleys are blood traders. Albus Severus is fundamentally not what Slytherin House is about, and Slytherin is fundamentally what Albus Severus doesn't want. So no, Cursed Child, not canon. I've heard it's a great show. I'm sure it's a fun way to spend an evening, but no, it is not canon. So, end of discussion there. We will not be considering Cursed Child as canon. Now, what about the Fantastic Beasts series? This one's a little trickier because I loved the first movie. I thought it was a super fun way to return to the world that we all love, the Wizarding world, to see our first real glance into what magic in the United States was like. To see, we all Newt Scamander, a very tangentially mentioned character. Yeah, he wrote Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. We don't really know much more about him, so it was cool to see how that book got written. It was so cool to see that character, to see adult wizards out in the world just using magic and all the incredible things they're able to do with it. That was a great movie. But part of the reason it was so great is because it didn't mess with what we already had and loved. It didn't try to rewrite the story that we already knew. It didn't try to go back and say, for instance, retroactively change the race of a character, which is a super weird thing to do. So, first Fantastic Beasts movie, 100%. Sure, that's canon. Why not? It's not related to the Harry Potter story except in the most provincial kind of ways, the most esoteric kind of ways. Yes, that counts as canon. Okay. The other two Fantastic Beasts movies, JK made some decisions. So she has said in interviews that part of the reason that she made some of these decisions was, oh, you don't think I had enough representation of minority women in the Harry Potter series? Oh, is that true? Yeah, that's absolutely true. But instead of, for instance, what she could have very easily done, written in additional strong female characters in the Fantastic Beasts series, what she instead tried to do, because she didn't want to admit that she had done something not perfectly, what she instead decided to do was to go back in time and change the races of characters seemingly at random. So she said in interviews, no, I kind of always thought of Hermione Granger as black. Now, if Hermione had been black, great, awesome, no issues there, fantastic. But Hermione is described as a pale British girl. Her last name is Granger. That's like the whitest kid on earth. Could Hermione been black if she had been written that way? Absolutely. Is there any reason that character couldn't have been? No. But was she written that way? No. So it's weird to try to retcon your own characters racially. The place where this gets the weirdest for the Fantastic Beasts movies, of course, Nagini, the snake. So J.K. Rowling admitted that she knew that there was not really representation of Asian women in the Harry Potter series. The only real character who is an Asian girl is Cho Chang, who is the grieving, constantly sobbing, emotional, kind of crazy girlfriend and love interest of Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter. Not great representation, right? Not fantastic. So instead of just writing an additional Asian woman character who would be strong, independent, able to sort of like show her own actual like traits and qualities and attributes that were all desirable and impressive and all that, J.K. Rowling instead decided, no, no, no. I did representation. I did so much representation. See, the snake. The snake was an Asian girl. That's not representation. Nobody in that demographic wants to be represented as, oh no, actually the snake, who is otherwise not really sentient, controlled by Voldemort, and only ever used to kill things. Oh yeah, that was one of us. No, that's not representation. Nobody wants that. Nobody likes that. It's weird. And that seems to have been like kind of a major subplot of the Fantastic Beasts movies, which I just don't really enjoy as a storytelling thread. I don't really enjoy in the way that it makes a substantial number of fans who are in that demographic feel like, oh, you're saying that I was represented the whole time as a dumb, murderous animal? That's not great. I don't love it. So, Fantastic Beasts 2 and 3, not canon. Sorry. But now the really interesting question. Are the movies, the original 8 movies from Sorcerer's Stone to Deathly Hallows Part 2, are those canon? And here, many, many, many shades of gray. There are places where the books and the movies contradict each other directly. Not many, but it happens on occasion. And there, yeah, okay. Let's say the books take precedent. So, for instance, the Patil twins, in the movies they're both Gryffindors because it's easier. In the books, one's in Gryffindor, one's in Ravenclaw. No, they're Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. Where the books and the movies directly contradict, we're going book. There are, of course, tons of scenes and tons of plot lines, tons of even whole characters. Like Dobby just disappears from the end of Chamber of Secrets up until Deathly Hallows, when Dobby is involved in the books pretty regularly, although sparingly. No, we're going with the books there. There are, however, a handful of scenes that the movies added in that the books didn't have, just for, cinematic storytelling purposes, that I absolutely love. So, my favorite of those probably might be when Harry walks into the tent at the Quidditch World Cup, and the tent is so much bigger on the inside than it was on the outside, and he just looks around and goes, I love magic. No, I want that to be canon. 100% we want that to be canon. That feels like absolutely in Harry's style. Daniel Radcliffe did an amazing job with that. Super great. There's another scene, of course, where I'm going to say 3 total. There's another incredible scene where when Harry and Dumbledore are going to be going into the cave to hunt for the Horcrux that ends up being Slytherin's locket, that ends up actually being the fake Slytherin's locket, that whole story, where Harry's asked by Ron and Hermione, aren't you scared? And he goes, why would I be scared? I'll be with Dumbledore. And that's just such incredible loyalty and faith and strength in that relationship. Absolutely amazing. And then when they're leaving the cave, after Dumbledore has drank the entire drink of despair and he's in horrible mortal agony, and Harry says, like, don't worry, sir, we'll get out of here. And Dumbledore goes, I'm not worried, Harry, I'm with you. Because that showed the reciprocity and the mutual trust and the mutual faith in each other of that relationship. And that was such an incredible, compelling, strong moment in that plot. So that, yeah, canon. And then, of course, everybody's absolute favorite ad-libbed movie scene when Hermione is like, oh, she's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one. But I am the chosen one. Bonk. Yeah, I want that to be real. We can say that's canon too. So basically, the general idea, the books are canon. Cursed Child is not. Fantastic Beasts may be the first one, not the other two. And then the original movies, we can pick and choose as we see fit. Where they directly contradict, we go with the books. Where the movies add something that's fun or enjoyable that the fan base seems to have basically accepted, yeah, that can be canon. Because again, we decide what's canon. That's the whole fun of being the fans, of being the community, of being the people who engage with, who interact with, who grow and develop and love this story. So, are we all happy with that? If you disagree, absolutely reasonable minds could disagree. Please comment below. I'd love to have a discussion with you about why you feel a certain way, why you disagree with me, why you agree with me, what you think is a better way to sort canon from non canon. And of course, if you enjoyed this and you still want to hear more thoughts like this, please like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.